Anakin, 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 Anakin. Where are we, Anakin?
Yeah.
The Mortis arc on the Clone Wars. Where are we, Anakin?
He didn't like the Mortis arc.
You didn't like that?
No, because, I mean, like, a lot of the stuff they bring up is cool, but I don't like it for the one reason that Anakin realizes that, like, he's gonna become Darth Vader, and then he's like, oh, I gotta make sure this doesn't happen, and then they get away.
No, that's the coolest part I thought to the story. Because think about this.
But then it's like,
What does he
everybody
do?
else knows. What does he do?
Yes, he does it. He's doing everything to try to prevent that arc from happening in his own life. But what does he do when anything changes in his life? He tries to prevent it
Yeah,
happening.
it's true, yeah.
So it's a reoccurring theme with Anakin. And that's what I liked about it, is that it showed him to a T in what's going to happen. It's the foreshadowing of that. Like, even though he knows now that he's going to become evil, he still ends up doing evil things to try to stop himself from doing evil.
That's true, yeah.
And it's just this constant revolving thing that goes
cycle.
through it. Yeah, and that's what it is. It's like...
You're not going to escape destiny. Now, I've been doing a little bit of a series that I started up.
And I think that I finally figured it out. What Disney and what Lucas and what them all have been doing this entire time with the Force. Basically, I think of Force as like a bandwidth, you know? Like, for any wiring, like, you know, when you pull off energy off of something that you eventually take part of it, or like it'll splice off energy, and once you have enough people pulling off of it, it diminishes the amount of power that goes through to it. Same thing with the Force, right? And an example that I explain I start with Phantom Menace in this last one, but this one we're going to go over Attack of the Clones. In the last battle sequence in Attack of the Clones, and why Yoda doesn't kill Dooku. Because of this. So, how many Jedi are on that stinking planet? I'm sure
There's like
at the end.
300 or 500 of them.
There's 500 Jedis, and there's one Sith on that side using the dark side of the Force, right? So pretty much if you look at the Force as a whole, right, one big circle, and half of it is light, half of it is dark, just like what we learned in Last Jedi. And there's no control over either, but they tap into that side of the Force. Well, with 500 Jedis tapping into one side of the Force, it kind of muffles the amount of Force energy for a light side Force user. But, however, for a dark side user, he is more powerful.
But I don't know about that though, because I don't like the idea that it's like you can either tap into good energy or bad energy.
To
me,
ready for this?
There's multiple points that prove this theory, okay? That's the start. Think back at Phantom Menace and that fight, the Duel of Fates fight, Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon against Maul. 2 Jedi should be able to take one Sith, especially a Sith
apprentice.
But he had like a double-bladed lightsaber.
Okay, double-bladed lightsaber. But he's weaker in the Force than Qui-Gon ever was.
Yeah.
And to kill off Qui-Gon in that way would be so disrespectful, unless that Force theory comes into play. Now, Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan are both using the light side of the Force. They're halved up against the guy who has the full power of the dark side, because Sidious isn't there. He's on Coruscant, so there's no other dark side users on that planet. So he's tapped into the full dark side potential. So when he gets him one-on-one, it's not fighting the full Force anymore. He's only fighting half of it.
Yeah.
So that's why he was able to pull that shiesty little move and stab him. Then when Qui-Gon goes down, what does Obi-Wan do? He overperforms compared to what he should be able to, because the Force has gone directly to him, and it's half and half. And until he gets angry and taps into the dark side, and that diminishes Maul's power. Think about it. Now a little bit of dark side with all the light at the same time, and you use that balance like what they talk about, he flips over there, and Maul's like 75% now compared to him being a full and a quarter.
Yeah.
You know? So now when he makes that Force jump, it makes sense how he can do it so fast, how the Force is amplified in that fight. Now even go to Revenge of the Sith, the first fight between Dooku and Obi-Wan and Anakin. Sidious is there.
Yeah.
So Dooku's already weaker than he was, and Grievous is there. And he's not as Force sensitive, but he's doing dark things, so he's relying on the dark side of the Force to have his will and reason to have. What's that? What's the word I'm looking for, Mike? Like, like a resolve. Like his resolve is the dark side resolve. It's not really that he's got force abilities. It's just like everything he does is dark. So it's just like it like brings that alignment of the dark side there. But it's still same thing. How many light side force users are there on Coruscant?
But what if Darth Maul got the best of Qui-Gon Jinn because Qui-Gon Jinn was like one old and just not as good of a swordsman as Darth Maul was?
Yeah, but he's fought off other swordsmen before, you know? In canon knowledge, like, he was already a great swordsman. That's why he trained Obi-Wan to be one of the best later on. Like, that's why he's a revered swordsman, too. And he trained Dooku.
Yeah.
He trained Dooku. Dooku wouldn't be as good as a lightsaber fighter without him.
Well, it's partly that. It's not that exactly, but you can mention Snoke mentioning it before, is that he says that now that you're so strong on the dark side, it was only a matter of time.
Yeah, for the girl that
counterpart in the light to rise.
And think about this in Last Jedi. Luke cuts himself off from the Force, right? Now, light side needs to amplify twice as hard because it lost the only person who is strong in it.
all I know is they gotta stop trying to change shit that's already, like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
that's not changed. That's
like,
what
I know
they
it's
did.
not changing it, but it's like,
theme.
I know, but it's like, it's constantly like, this is what the Force is. Now this is what the Force, now, okay, this is what the Force is.
It's true.
And it's just like, God, just stick to one thing.
I think it's naturally like it's not like you get to pull from either side.
Yeah.
It's just what you're born with is what you get.
Yeah, I
And
think
it's
if
based
you're born
on
with the ability to tap into
because
it.
the way Anakin is born is based off of Darth Plagueis and Darth Sidious being the only two Sith, and then also amplifying their power into the dark side, and that's how Anakin was born.
In original Legends, yes.
I think it's like the whole idea what Luke says in Last Jedi about the vanity of the Jedi. There's also the vanity of the Sith, because that Force, he says, doesn't belong to any of them. They're just abusing it.
Yeah.
So...
Well, and if you read the Legends of Luke Skywalker,
I did read the Legends.
And you know exactly what I'm talking about then. The people that use the wave or the tide. The tide, that is the perfect example of the Force. That's what led me to this assumption in the first place, too, was even before I went and watched this movie, it just confirmed everything I had thought when I saw the movie. Oh, that makes sense why Force Awakens happened the way it is. Even Leia doing the Force flying sequence, which, yes, there's spoilers in this.
Yeah, right.
So, they're...
Everyone's seen memes about it.
The flying, you know, it even makes sense because Luke still hadn't tapped in. Luke never came back.
Yeah.
Luke hadn't come back to the Force yet. When that happens with Leia, Luke hadn't tapped back into the Force.
I don't know, I feel like if that's what they're going, though, that, I mean, like, because at what point, like, is it just going to be constantly, like, there's a new bad guy and now there's a new good guy, that are just the strongest fucking guys.
That's bad.
I know, but it's like I would rather have the the scattered. Like I don't want to see gray Jedi.
Yeah, that's why.
But I would definitely love to see more like bad guys that are like, you know what, I'm not following this or this, and then like more like more and more conflict arises.
My theory only makes the rule of two more valid
Because the rule of two was like not a great
Yeah,
for a while.
Darth Bane was not smart.
It only works.
But it only works with that theory.
Because they're always, but the Sith are always after more power.
Exactly, so they receive more power from the Force if there's less of them out there.
No,
so you got
because they kept killing each other. Because they kept killing each other.
Agreed.
Like,
I know, but I'm going off of canonical evidence.
I'm not trying to be mean to you, or I'm like, theory is interesting.
Yes.
But I try not to theorize too much about this shit, and I think you should too, because we go and see these movies, and guess what? None of them are fucking correct. And we go, God damn it. For fucking 5 years.
I still love all the Rey theories.
Yeah, I know, right?
All the Rey theories and all the Snoke theories.
Before I
just
saw
in that 5 minute span, it's like...
So what does that tell you?
All of them dead.
Last Jedi basically took everybody's expectations, threw it out the fucking window,
exactly.
and then on top of it, ready?
That's why I liked it so much.
As if 1,000 fanboys could have it
I
once.
did not necessarily like some of the things they did in it, but it's not a bad movie.
Yeah, no,
But it also proved my theory correct even more because the way that movie pans out. Kylo, plays off the strength of Snoke.
We need to talk about this more when the DVD comes out and we see the deleted scenes.
Well,
because there could be some deleted scenes where you're like, oh shit, that's what they were gonna do.
Well, but then it's not canon.
I know it's not canon, but this
That's
canon
all that
shit.
matters.
Well, they're not even following their own fucking canon now. That's kind of bugging me.
What do you mean?
Because if you read the Force Awakens book, Poe meets Rey on the base, and
I
then
agree. The books are just a supplement.
Yeah, I know, right? And then apparently in the new comic, the Storm's a Crait or whatever, Leia acts like she's never been to Crait. And if you've read Princess Leia of Alderaan...
Yeah, she's been there.
Yeah.
She's been there before. That's bull crap. Whatever. What comic was that one?
It's one of the new Star Wars ones that's out now.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought that they had. Oh, all right.
I don't know. They gotta get better at it though. Because
Yeah.
Do you read the Darth Vader comics?
I don't read them as they come out. I buy the graphic novels when they come out. So I've seen the first volume, and I read the.
Okay.
My issues with the comics is that they're way farther out there than even the books.
Yeah, but I mean, but the comics though, like.
Just look at the Afra.
I don't think Afra's like the greatest Star Wars character ever created, but I don't like I don't have any. I'm not like this is fucking dumb. I mean,
So that's good. I can warn you beforehand. So they have like 4 or 5 of the Darth Vader ones out now. You have to buy Vader Down as well.
yeah, I've read all those. I've read all the old ones. I just haven't read the new series that's taking place.
Oh, there's a new Darth Vader?
Yes,
It picks up right after Revenge of the Sith.
It's great. And it has more of the Inquisitors and stuff like that in there too, and Jocasta Nu.
But I've read the other Darth Vader series.
I got 1 through 4. I just bought them all at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So I just ripped through 1 and 2, and then at the end of number 2, it's just like continued in Vader Down.
Yeah. Son of a.
I was holding that one too, and I was
Yeah.
like, I don't need it. I'll get it later.
Yeah. Have you read those comics?
I've gone through and watched the read videos on YouTube.
Oh, okay. I
So
love how the fucking one
and
ends.
I like when they read it to you because I don't like to go.
I
through
still
it.
need to go read Vader Down. I haven't done it yet. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, don't spoil it for me.
But you've
Have
read the
you
fourth
read?
one, right? Volume 4? Oh,
I've only read the
stopped
first
here.
Well, have you
Because
read
after
Lords
the
of the
second
Sith?
one, it's
Yeah.
like you have to.
Lords of the Sith
If you
is
read Lords
That
of the
one, Lords of the Sith, is
Yeah,
great.
Lords of the Sith was pretty
more
awesome.
Sidious action, please. Like that's what I want.
Sidious,
More
just
Sidious.
Dude, I love that
Exactly.
dynamic though of their relationship because like Vader's essentially like a slave to him. And
Yeah.
he knows it. There's nothing he can do. Like
No, he doesn't.
because even in Empire Strikes Back, he tells Luke, he's like, "Join me, and together we'll kill him, and we'll take over."
Yeah.
And it's like, oh man.
And then even though Plagueis isn't canon anymore, he made
he is canon. He's still mentioned in
the
Are
book.
they gonna try to
the book
yeah.
is-
Hey,
But
Boba
the
Fett
only
changes
reason,
a lot of things when
Yeah.
he gives away the actual name of Skywalker to him when
Yeah.
he tears down the Star Destroyers and
Mhm.
everything. That's an important piece.
Are you talking about in the comic?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That important story plot is really what makes him change against the Emperor even more.
Mhm.
Because then he realizes that the Emperor's been lying to
Yeah.
him the whole damn time.
like especially once you go through those
Well,
comics, and
I
it's
think
nothing
that's
but lies
that
and lies and
lie
lies.
that lie is the push of like, all right, because now he has another option. I can find my son. And then, use him
to
and
kill the
him will
Emperor
kill
because
you,
he's
yeah.
scared of him.
Mhm.
All the above, like it's
Yeah.
so perfect, and in his mind, it's like Kylo Ren and Rey. You
Mhm.
know, like I thought that was a cool plot.
I really wanted to see them get together.
Me too.
No,
I did. I
I
kind
I
of
wanted her to join him.
Yeah, I
I
did
wanted
too.
her to join him, and I
That
wanted
would've
him to
been awesome.
crush all the rebel scum.
How cool would that have been though, if rather than having a good guy and a bad guy, like both of them join up, and it's like the rest of the galaxy versus these guys, and it's like, how the fuck do we
Yeah,
stop them?
because what
Like,
would have happened? They would have joined together, and then General Hux would have said no, and
Yeah.
then he could have joined the Resistance.
One-
Yeah, right?
And it
One
could have
big
been all of the
problem.
old First Order, and the First Order
Yeah.
becomes the Rebel.
there's only one problem.
I'm just worried that they're gonna just because, and I'm not because obviously the next episode 9's not out yet and shit like that, and I'm waiting. I want to read the novelization of the movie, but in the Last Jedi, it kind of worries me. But it's like like I said before, I don't know yet, so I'm not getting like upset about it. But it's like I really hope they don't do this because it leads me to believe that you just set up the original Star Wars trilogy again, and it's gonna be the Empire or the Rebellion. Like that's gonna be it.
I mean,
all the time,
When
like,
that's all
how
it ever
it's
is
been,
in the
though.
EU.
Yeah.
It's just New Empire number 3. New
No, but
Empire
what I'm saying is
number
like, does
4.
it always have to be an empire? Like, because now that there is no republic, like, why can't it be like there's a faction of like the First Order, and then it's just like keep adding other
Everyone
threats
wants
that
to
arise?
conquer